Rob Bonta is very, very accessible and engaged and committed to not just Inland Empire, but all of Inland California, places that otherwise are not given this kind of profile and attention that they deserve. So I really, really want to extend my appreciation about that. So, yeah, that's important. That's important.
Forced to drink dirty water or breathe unhealthy air, I want to be there for them. If it's the opportunity to right wrongs in our fundamentally broken criminal justice system and give people a second chance and more compassion, I want to be there for them. If it's taking on the forces of hate, which so many of us are facing right now, whether it be our API community, our Muslim community, Jewish community, LGBTQ plus community, Sikh community, I want to fight back and be by your side. And we got to make sure our corporations are following the rules. We love our California businesses, and we want them to follow the rules. They can't be using anti-competitive practices. They can't be violating consumer privacy. So I'll be there as the watchdog to check them when necessary. And this role is part of who I am, how I've been brought up. I was born in the Philippines. I was brought here as a 2-month-old. We fled a dictator who was rising to power, Ferdinand Marcos, who declared martial law and had a history and legacy of human rights abuses. And my parents were social justice activists and advocates, part of some of the greatest social justice movements our state and our nation have ever known. My dad marched in Selma. He was there on the ground with Martin Luther King Jr. in church, met Stokely Carmichael, organized for voting rights and civil rights. Both my parents worked for the United Farm Workers of America, so I spent my early days in the Central Valley. We lived in La Paz, the headquarters for the movement. My older brother, my older sister, my younger brother, my mom and dad, we lived in a trailer. They got $5 a week for their service to the union. My dad worked in the front office with Cesar Chavez, set up healthcare clinics for our farm workers in California and across the nation. My mom worked in the preschool. Dolores Huerta was there. She continues to be a great friend and ally. She's never going to stop and clearly keeps fighting for justice. That's her life's work. Philip Veracruz, one of the great Filipino leaders, was there as well. We'd host him in our trailer for Filipino breakfast. And I was born September 22nd, 1971. Exactly a year later, Ferdinand Marcos declared martial law. So from my first birthday till my teenager years, my mom on my birthday on September 22nd would have a birthday party for me, and then she'd organize a protest. And that was how she was, and that's how my family was. They believed that everyday people, side by side, committed to a common goal, could change the world. And they didn't just tell me that, they showed me that. Whether it be the civil rights movement, the farm worker movement, the restoration of democracy in the Philippines. They toppled a dictator an ocean away and brought democracy back to the Philippines. And so that's how I grew up. My parents creating a legacy of righting wrongs, fighting injustice, lifting people up. And that's always been my goal in public service. And I know that's the goal of everyone here. Made sacrifices for your family, your time, your privacy to serve in office. I want to just thank you all who've stepped up and stepped in. We need you. And we need you to bring who you are, your lived experiences, the communities that you care about into the fight. Because for too long, too many of those communities have been forgotten and overlooked and not been given our due. But it's changing, and it requires all of us to step in and be part of this change. So, the Attorney General's role is absolutely incredible. It's my first time in state office, and I'm committed to being an Attorney General for all of California, including the Inland Empire. So I appreciate you all being here. These partnerships are critical. I learn and I grow every time. I spend more time in places I haven't been as much as I want, and so I've already learned about issues that you're facing and ways that I can help. I want to be your partner. I come here with my arm extended in partnership and friendship, and I hope you'll take it and ask me to be for you what you need from the DOJ and the Attorney General. That's what I'm here for. Not just for the Bay Area, not just for LA and San Diego, but for everywhere in California. And California is special. 5th largest economy in the world, most diverse state in the nation. Again, that state that created that statement, as California goes, so goes the nation. So we are facing some of the biggest challenges still. We have a climate crisis that we have very limited window to get our arms around and to address. We have, in my view, a fundamentally broken criminal justice system. We have reproductive freedom under attack throughout this nation. And our office is leading on the amicus brief that will argue to the Supreme Court the best argument for why we should be upholding Roe versus Wade. and choice, pro-choice position constitutionally. We have voter rights under attack. We have health access not what it should be. We have people who are homeless and housing that's not affordable in this state. We have gun safety issues and gun violence that is rising. So we're going to do our part in the California Attorney General's office on all those issues, and that's one of the great things about it. Someone told me long ago as I stepped into public office, you can't do it all, focus on just a few things and let the others go. And I never took that advice because I don't think that's right. Whenever I can help, whenever I can move the needle, whenever I can change a life, I'm going to do it. Because it's just more work for me, more energy, more commitment, but more output and more change. And we need change in so many places. So the California Attorney General's role, again, honor of a lifetime. I know so many of us have come to California or been born in California or multi-generation in California with this dream, and I'm living my California dream. My dream has been to serve to the best of my ability, lift as many people's lives up, transform as many lives for the better, and make change. And in this role, we can drive a lot of change, but only with partners like you. So again, I appreciate the opportunity to spend time with all of you this morning. I know you can be a lot of places. Thank you for being here. And let's see this as a beginning of more work to do together to lift up our communities, fight for our values, and make California stronger and better. Thank you so much.
So we'll just take a couple questions and then we'll wrap up. Does anybody have any questions for our
I
attorney?
just got one, because I advocate for families with children with disabilities, single mothers, who are frequently sued by school districts. And it breaks my heart that I represent kids living in a car getting served. Because our prior Attorney General, God bless him, used to represent us with MAPA, the Mexican American Political Association, but he made a decision saying that parents can't choose their own advocates anymore. They have to go to an attorney. And sometimes you get attorneys who don't know special ed, but advocates who have children with disabilities, they know how to do due process hearings. That right was taken away from us. And CWA, Martino, Italia, Ortega, and others who I've helped, we need that right back. At least to meet with us, talk with us so we can present it, to say, please, our children with disabilities deserve no less than having their mom or dad having the right to represent them. Thank you.
Thank you. So let's talk more about that.
Thank you.
My heart is always with our young people, families. They're fiercest advocates. So I got to kind of look at what the legal precedent is and how we got to where we are. But I want to have a conversation.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Imran Sharif, so thank you first of all. I mean, excellent speech, and you covered a lot of topics. What I wanted to know as a health professional is when someone ends up in the hospital, they get piles of bills, and you have done a lot of work on that. And what can we do to resolve that issue? Say a normal person goes to the hospital, next thing you know, they're 100,000 bills.
Yeah.
How to address that? How to solve that issue? And how to be fair?
Yeah. So for those who couldn't hear, the question is about how do we deal with basically medical bills when you go to the hospital that can make you bankrupt, and to the tune of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands. And I think there's a couple different things. I think we need single payer. That's my position. Single payer healthcare that's affordable. That's for everybody. But in the meantime, we also need to provide affordable healthcare to as many people as possible. The Affordable Care Act has been a really important part of that. That's been under attack time and time again. During the Trump administration, our office, the California DOJ, has fought back and defended the ACA so that millions of people throughout the United States and in California can have affordable care. Most recently, we argued the case in front of the Supreme Court. That was, I think, was the 5th successful defense of the ACA. So that's an important floor, but it's still not enough. Some of these surprise bills, or these bills that are these egregiously high bills, have been surprise bills in the past. As an assembly member, I authored a bill that was passed and signed and is the law of California. That means you can have no more surprise bills anymore. That at least the patient's not on the hook for them. When an out-of-network provider, unbeknownst to the patient, provides service to them, and they get this huge bill that's out-of-network cost, so it's super high. That's illegal. But those are just foundations. We need to build from there to make sure that I believe healthcare is a right, not a privilege. It's for all, not the few. And that needs to be our goal and our aspiration, and we need to move closer to getting there. But until then, we'll still see the sad cases. And I think we all believe that no one should ever seek medical care to be able to heal and make themselves better and be bankrupt because of it.
Thank you.
I have a question, Muhammad Khan, kind of similar. We're talking about the insurance companies in the medical space who are acquiring services. So it could be a conflict. The billing is controlled by services, healthcare services, and it seems it could be antitrust issues, and that's affecting the quality of healthcare, number one, and the private doctors who have to be gobbled up by a group. Any comments on how to address that?
Yeah, you know, one of the unique roles of the California Attorney General is that we oversee consolidations of hospitals and mergers, and we can approve or disapprove of the mergers or put conditions on them as appropriate to make sure that there's no diminishment in healthcare access and no rise in cost. And we're trying to expand our authority with new legislation. There was some legislation that passed, or that was moving in the past that didn't get signed into law. We're going to bring it back in this next year to try to make sure that we have the authority we need to have to look out for what you're describing, look out for patients, consumers, everyday people, to make sure that they're not bearing inappropriate costs for getting health care every day.
We'll have one last
Okay,
question.
I have one question. I'm from NRI Press. Worldwide, we are doing some news media. I have a question here. When people go to the store, they rob it and they start going, pick up the stuff and just run away. Secondly, looting sometimes. Do you have some law and order in your presence, some strict law and order? Because it's very, very frustration sometimes happen for the generation.
For law and order, yeah.
For our generation, the people are feeling it, like something in stores, people just go and pick up the stuff and start running away. It's a law and order question.
Yeah. So, I mean, one of the AG does a lot of stuff, has a lot of roles, a lot of reach. We have a lot of civil authority, and we have law enforcement authority and authority in the criminal law. And so, it's important. What we do is we enforce the law, we implement the law, we make sure that the law is being followed, and when it's not, that there's accountability. And so that's a top priority for me. I've been all over the state as Attorney General, even before as an Assembly member, and I'm yet to meet any Californian who doesn't want to avoid being the victim of a crime.
Yeah.
That brings us together, and it's my job to make sure that people are protected and defended and laws are followed. So,
Thank you very
We're
much.
going to do two very quick questions, Celine and Regina, and that's it after that.
Good morning. My name is Celine Perez. I'm with the Inland Empire Labor Council. Hi. Nice to meet you, Attorney General. So my question is that here in the Inland Empire, we have, it's two parts. As you can see, what's really dominant here in our region, economic-wise, is the logistics industry.
Yeah.
And one of the largest employers is Amazon.
Yep.
That we see so much issues around health and safety, but also unfair competition with small businesses.
Yep.
Right, and so that's a big concern for us, that we see these practices, we see these violations, and in many ways as a violation of antitrust law, right? And is this something the California Attorney General's office is looking into? And then my second parter is that in the logistics industry, and other industries as well, we do have the increased use of temp agencies where we again see unfair competition, where they're breaking the law around wage theft, health and safety violations, and really hurt employers that are actually doing the right thing. And many times they use shell companies, right? And it's the same owners, but just with a different name. So also, is that something that the California Attorney General office is looking at and pursuing?
Yes to both is the short answer. Let me provide a little more detail. And thank you for raising the issue of worker protection. I forgot to mention it, I had meant to in my opening remarks. We have a workers' rights and fair labor standards unit whose job is to make sure workers are being treated with the dignity, respect, and that their employers are following the law as is required under California law. So we can't be everywhere, and we need you to help us be eyes and ears on the ground to see which employers are violating the law, which ones are engaged in wage theft, or where the underground economy occurs, or where there's misclassification. And we want to be there by your side to help fight back and make sure that the law is being followed. So if there's something specific you can share with us, if there's an employer, specifically abusive employer who's violating the law, we want to know about it so we can get involved. And I'll connect you both with my special assistant on labor issues. His name's Matt Goldberg, and this is exactly what we want to work on with you and be your partner on. And then with respect to anti-competitive practices, I think we need to do a reboot and a modernization of anti-competition law. Some of the laws aren't keeping up with the current business models that we see, a lot was sort of based on big steel and big oil and price fixing, and a lot of what to be provided by big tech companies these days is free. There's no prices, but the currency that they operate in is information and personal information. So we're working on some new antitrust laws that we're going to be introducing, and part of it will be not just protection of the consumer, but protection of the worker, which hasn't always been part of an antitrust analysis. So happy to have your input on that as we build that out as well.
Last question from Dr. Stella at NAACP.
NAACP. Two questions.